Okay, so welcome back to my story time. This is part three of how I ended up living and working for Joe Jackson. So we left off with Erickson leaving and going out of the country. Before he left, he did take a picture of my driver license, and that was it. He just kept it, just to know who I was and if anything happened, while he was gone. So when he left, it felt kind of like strange. It was like taking your training wheels off for the first time, as like a child riding a bike with no training wheels for the first time, basically. So everything was left up to me. It was up to me to, feed him, up to me to not feed him like, make his food, basically. Um, Separate all of his medications and things of that nature. So that's what I began to do. We ate out a lot within those 2 weeks. We spoke a lot during those 2 weeks, like getting to know each other. There were times within that 2 week period where he would try to like force me to do something or like try to like push his way on me, and it didn't work because anything that he said to me or any type of way that he tried to, boss me around, I gave it right back to him. Like, no, the same thing you're saying to me is the same thing I'm gonna say to you. And oddly enough, like that's how we became comfortable with each other. He knew that he couldn't just tell me to do something and I was gonna do it because, that's how it was for the most part of his life. You know what I mean? So we're both Leos. Our birthday is within like a week and a half apart. So we're almost the same type of person. And also during those 2 weeks, he let me know that one of his children are coming to visit and check on him. So I'm like completely nervous. Like, I don't know what his kids are going to say to me, how they're going to treat me. They don't know the dynamic of our relationship. I don't know the dynamic of anything because I just started there. So surely enough, one of his daughters show up to the house. And at first she was kind of like standoffish towards me, which is understandable. I would be as well. But we did ended up going out to eat and speaking about everything. So she was asking me questions like as if I'm dating her dad, like what are my intentions with him? Like where did I come from? How did I meet him? Um, is he giving me money and things of those natures? And so I answered all her questions straightforward. But her daughter, which would be one of Mr. Jackson's granddaughters, was kind of upset. She wasn't there, right? This is her mom speaking on her behalf to me, that she was upset because the job that I'm doing is what she wanted to do for him. So that already built like, that type of barrier between the two of us. And keep that in mind because it's definitely going to come up later between me and the granddaughter. I'm not going to say her name. I'm not even going to say which Jackson daughter that I had the encounters with. During that time, he did let me know to be aware of that certain daughter. He's told me that the only time she does come around is when she wants something. I didn't know that to be true. I had just met her. She was cool for the most part. Like I said, she ended up lightening up to me quite a bit. We actually exchanged phone numbers. That wasn't the last time I seen her, but it wasn't often that she came around. And I did start to notice that he was telling the truth. Also, during that 2 week time, I started to notice like a change in him, but not a big change, right? I think that it was more so like he was still sizing me up and he didn't know like my full intention on him or what I planned on doing, because there were many people that were working for him before that was giving out information while working for him to big media, platforms. I let him know that that's not something that I'm even interested in doing. And the only reason I'm telling my story now is because I feel comfortable. I know who he was, and I completely knew my intentions from the very beginning of what I planned on doing while working for him, which was to help him. That's it. That's all I wanted to do was help him, right? So a lot happened within that 2 week period, and basically us getting to know each other, right? So Erickson then returns back to the estate within, like I say, a couple of weeks or so, and he was surprised that I was even still there, because a lot of the people that work for him, like I said, they did him bad, and he pushed them away. Erickson didn't receive any phone calls. He was the one that always had to call and check on us to see how we're doing. And also, he was surprised to see that we were joking around, laughing with each other, doing your mama jokes with one another. You know what I mean? So it was something completely different than what he had seen from the previous people that worked for him. Mr. Jackson was even like wearing different clothing every single day when I start coming around. He told me that his mood changed from not frumpy, but just going about the day because we're in the day, to him dancing around, him laughing. You know what I mean? Like, we can go back and forth and argue, and I can sit up there and ask him, like, do you want some ice cream? And he'll be like, yep. One scoop of vanilla, one scoop of strawberry, and the argument will be over. So I think it was good for me to come into his life because we were able to feed off of each other. I was able to kick him out of his moods, and it was just a great time, especially like in the beginning. It was definitely a great time. Um but things did eventually, take a turn, and I'll go over that later in the story. I also would like to add that while Erickson was there, because this is going to come up later, I wasn't working while he was there. I didn't have to, but he wasn't there often. So please keep that in mind because it will come up later in the story. I want you to keep the granddaughter in mind, and I want you to keep the fact that I was off as long as Erickson was in the house. This will complete part 3. We're going to come back for part 4 again. Maybe tomorrow. It's the weekend. We'll figure it out, right? I want you to like and comment and share the whole story out. I will answer questions in the next one, but I want you to come back and see how things begin to unravel once people realized who I was.